It's episode 12 of my series, Buy and Try, where I find vintage dishes at the thrift store that have recipes on them, and then I make that exact recipe. Today, I am making a French apple flan. My husband was filming. We're just a couple of crazy kids. The best part of this recipe is I've never had a flan before, so this was like just flantastic. So I picked up everything I needed, and we're ready to go. I gotta warn you, this one is a journey. Also, special thanks to my mom. I went over this morning and stole this rubber sheet because I needed it for this recipe. First step, I measured the flour and added a little pinch of salt. And then I realized I need to sift the flour and I didn't have a sifter. So best I can do is a strainer. So I strained that and it was looking nice and fluffy. I was like, this is fine. This is good. And then I needed to make a well in the flour. And I feel like I just pressed too hard and I like completely undid all the sifting. So I put it back in the bowl and Taylor sifted again. And there we go. We've got it nice, fresh, fluffy, ready to work with. I made my little well. I don't know why I did this in like such a weird way, but I was just enjoying. I don't know. I'm not okay. I'm never okay. You should know that by now. And then I needed to separate some eggs and some yolks. And I learned to just do this with my hand. It's much easier than trying to do it any other way. Your hands are your best tools. So I separated 4 yolks. They were just looking so squishy. It took all my willpower not to just smush them up in my hands. Then I needed to measure the caster sugar, but I couldn't find caster sugar, but I read you could just blend up regular sugar. So I went to do that and my immersion blender did not fit into the jar. So I was like, oh, I'll use this like super chuggy mug I have because it's wide. So I went to blend in there and just boom, sugar everywhere. I like couldn't get it together. I was making such a mess. Then I found this big magic bullet thing. So I just pulsed the sugar. So I got it nice and skinny, Bella Hadid sugar. Then I measured my butter. And then I realized I needed to make this well way bigger. Someone's going to fall in this well. Help me, Lassie. So I widened it up and then I added in my butter and my skinny sugar, supermodel sugar, and just a wee bit of vanilla. And then I added in my squishy yolks. Oh, don't they just look so fun? Oh my gosh. Then I needed to mix everything with my fingertips. This is like a dream for me. I think like I was a child who would really love a sensory bin. Like that is just, give me a sensory bin for Christmas because like that's what I'm all about. So once everything was mixed and combined, I wrapped it up and put it in the fridge for an hour. And with my hour, I made some breakfast, some egg whites, and cleaned up the huge messes I had made. So here we are, an hour later. She's chilled, ready to be rolled. Realized I don't have a rolling pin. So I used this water bottle and I was like, oh, I'm so smart. I remembered to flour the rolling pin. And I was feeling really good about myself. I was like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. Look at this. It's amazing. And then I realized, I needed to put flour on the rubber mat. It didn't come up at all. So I was like, okay, I literally need to do this all again. So I floured the mat and did all my rolling, got it looking good. And I was like, what's the easiest way to like get this in the pan? I didn't want it to rip. So I decided to just put the pan on top and then flip it and then just hope for the best, as I do with my life. My motto, just hope for the best and, you know, you'll be fine. And you know what? I was fine. It worked out. Everything got in there. I just placed it in a little bit better into the tart shell. And then, you know, by the way, I realized this is like not a flan at all. This is just an apple tart. I looked up an apple flan recipe and there's literally not even anything on Google. So I don't know how this got misnamed. So as that baked, I cleaned up my giant mess and then it was time to chop up the apples. I wanted them as teeny tiny as possible, so thin. I ended up changing my knife so it worked a little bit better. I need to invest in a knife sharpener. Anyways, I got it all sliced and diced. Here we have the pastry looking wonderful, ready to be dressed, except it did have a little lump. I was like, okay, just gonna pretend that's not there and hope for the best, as I do. So then I put the apples on. This is always my favorite part, like arranging it, making it look nice. I used most of the apples. I had some left over, but it was looking lovely. Then I put some sugar on top and it went in the oven for another 20 minutes. In the meantime, I heated up the apricot jam and then added some lemon juice, mixed it all together. And it called for straining this, but I didn't really think mine had a lot of water content in it. So I just left it as it was. Here's the pie after the 20 minutes. I feel like the apples could have been softer. I probably could have sliced them a little thinner, but like I'm not a master chef, okay? I did my best. So then I put the apricot on top and it looked so good. Does it not look beautiful? Like you could see this in a French bakery. I was so proud of the appearance of it, even if it tastes like trash. Like it's beautiful, okay? So here we are. It cut pretty well. I feel like because the apples weren't so soft, it was a little bit difficult to cut. Taste test. Okay, pastry is delish. The apples definitely could have been softer, but the apple with the apricot, delicious. I'll definitely try to make more recipes with those two ingredients combined. I would use this dish again to reference the pastry recipe, but I don't think I'll make this flan tart again.